Pakistan's failure while Vietnam's enviable success in economic development. Though background of the two countries were almost same. After World War II ended in 1945, decolonisation swept the world as European powers left their colonies. Pakistan gained independence from British rule in August 1947, like many other nations. Over the following decades, several newly independent countries, often called Third World countries, now popularly renamed as Global South, began to grow and improve. Vietnam, freed from French rule in the middle of 1940s, faced long internal conflict and a major war with the United States. Despite this, it has now emerged as a strong, developing economy. In contrast, Pakistan, independent around the same time, has struggled to achieve similar progress. The question of why Vietnam has advanced more than Pakistan in the same period is worth serious thought. This blog explores the reasons behind their differing paths. The economic divergence between Pakistan and countries like Vietnam, South Korea, and China, despite all starting from relatively similar low-income levels in the mid-20th century, can be attributed to a combination of strategic policy choices, institutional quality, investment in human capital, openness to global markets, and political stability. Let's analyze why Vietnam has emerged as a stronger economic performer compared to Pakistan in recent decades. 1. Economic reforms and policy consistency. Vietnam. Doi Moi reforms, 1986. Vietnam launched sweeping economic reforms in 1986, transitioning from a centrally planned economy to a socialist-oriented market economy. This included price liberalization, encouragement of private enterprise, and opening up to foreign investment. Pro-market, export-oriented strategy. Vietnam focused on export-led growth, integrating into global supply chains, particularly in electronics, textiles, and footwear. Stable policy environment. Despite being a one-party state, Vietnam has maintained consistent economic policies over decades, attracting long-term foreign direct investment, FDI. Pakistan. Inconsistent reforms. Pakistan has experimented with liberalization, example in the 1990s and 2000s, but reforms have been inconsistent, often reversed due to political instability or pressure from interest groups. Import substitution and protectionism. Historically, Pakistan followed inward-looking policies, protecting inefficient industries and discouraging competition. Policy volatility. Frequent changes in economic leadership, taxation, and trade policy have deterred long-term investment. 2. Investment in human capital. Vietnam. Strong education system. Vietnam invests heavily in education, with high literacy rates, over 95%, and a focus on STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Skilled workforce. The country produces a large number of engineers and technical graduates annually, making it attractive to high-tech manufacturers like Samsung and Intel. Health and demographics. Vietnam has a young, healthy, and disciplined workforce with lower dependency ratios. Pakistan. Low education spending. Pakistan spends less than 2% of GDP on education, one of the lowest in the world. Poor quality of education, high enrollment but low learning outcomes, many graduates lack job-relevant skills. Health challenges, high rates of malnutrition, poor healthcare access, and population growth strain resources. 3. Foreign direct investment, FDI, and global integration. Vietnam. FDI magnet. Vietnam has successfully attracted FDI by offering stable policies, competitive labor costs, trade agreements, example CPTPP, EFTA, and special economic zones. Trade openness. Vietnam is deeply integrated into global value chains. Exports account for over 90% of GDP, one of the highest ratios globally. Manufacturing hub. It has become a key manufacturing base for global brands, example Apple, Nike, Samsung. Pakistan. Low FDI inflows. Pakistan struggles to attract sustained FDI due to security concerns, bureaucratic hurdles, energy shortages, and weak rule of law. Limited export diversification. Exports are concentrated in low-value textiles, lack of diversification into higher-value sectors. Trade barriers. High tariffs, complex regulations, and poor infrastructure hinder competitiveness. 4. Infrastructure and industrial policy. Vietnam. Strategic infrastructure development, massive investments in ports, roads, and power infrastructure to support industry. Industrial clusters, government support for industrial zones with reliable utilities and logistics. Pakistan. Infrastructure deficit, chronic energy shortages, poor transport networks, and outdated industrial estates. Lack of industrial strategy, no coherent long-term industrial policy to move up the value chain. 5. Governance and institutional quality. Vietnam. Technocratic governance, while not democratic, Vietnam's leadership has prioritized economic development with competent technocrats managing key ministries. Lower corruption, relative though corruption exists, Vietnam scores better than Pakistan on governance indicators, example World Bank governance indicators. Pakistan. Weak institutions, frequent military interventions, politicization of bureaucracy, and weak accountability. High corruption, persistent issues with transparency and public sector efficiency. Elite capture, economic policies often favor entrenched business and landowning elites, discouraging competition. 6. Macroeconomic management. Vietnam. Fiscal and monetary discipline, prudent management of inflation, debt, and exchange rates. Current account balance, generally balanced, supported by strong exports. Pakistan. Chronic fiscal deficits, high government borrowing, leading to debt accumulation. Balance of payments crises, repeated IMF bailouts due to low exports, high imports, and capital flight. High inflation and currency depreciation, erodes purchasing power and investor confidence. 7. Geopolitical and regional context. Vietnam benefited from regional integration, ASEAN, proximity to China, and improved relations with the West. Pakistan, geopolitical focus on security and defense has diverted resources from development. Regional tensions, example with India, limit trade and integration. In essence, Vietnam succeeded by making development the central national mission, supported by capable institutions, disciplined economic management, and integration into the global economy. Pakistan, despite early promise, has been held back by political instability, elite capture, poor governance, and short-term policy making. Way forward for Pakistan. To catch up, Pakistan must 1. Prioritize economic stability and structural reforms. 2. Invest heavily in education and health. 3. Improve ease of doing business and attract FDI. 4. Diversify exports and integrate into global value chains. 5. Strengthen institutions and reduce corruption. Vietnam's rise is not magic, it's the result of deliberate, long-term strategy. Pakistan can learn from this, but only if its leadership commits to reform over rent-seeking.